Social media platforms are very powerful, and there are many different purposes that they can be used for. Most of the time, they're used for consuming entertaining content and relaxing while using them. But they can also be educational, informative, used for staying in touch with people, and many other things. But is social media always good for us? When we talk about this topic, we can look at it from two different sides, from a perspective of someone who is a user or a consumer, and from a perspective of a creator and someone who is producing the content that we see on social media. More than often, when social media is criticized, and it is criticized very often, it is criticized for the content that is created, which leaves harmful consequences on the society that we live in. And rightly so. Many creators, in their pursuit for profit and fame, forget about ethical standards, human rights, and humane approach in general. So, how can we ensure that the content produced is creative, fun, and trendy, but still ethical, responsible, and kind? And to even go a step further, how can we use social media for the good and spread awareness on topics that are important for the society that we live in? In this episode of Youth Squad, I have a guest that is what we can call a responsible creator. Philip has been on social media for quite some time, and when I came across his content on social media, I quickly realized that beside it being fun and very entertaining, it was very appropriate and respectful, and I felt like it wasn't bringing any harm into this world. So welcome, Philip. Thank you for coming to our podcast. My first question for you is, how are you?
Thank you for calling me to be your guest. I'm really honored. I'm actually great. Of course, a little bit tired, but because it's morning. But other than that, I'm really pumped and, to be honest, really ready to talk. I feel like I'm that kind of a person in the morning. Like when I wake up, I'm just ready to talk, and I know that's like a huge red flag to
Yes.
a lot of people. They're like, "How are you like that?" And I truly, since high school, like I don't know where do I get my morning energy from, because I sure am not sleeping well. But but I feel like I have like that morning energy so I'm ready for talk.
Yeah, well, I'm usually not that type of a person. I don't like to talk in the mornings, but your cheerfulness is kind of contagious. So now I'm feeling the energy too, and now I really want to talk to you. Let's introduce. Let's say, well, to our audience, who are you? In a sense, like you are a creator, content creator. You're mostly focused on which platforms.
Y-
How did that journey begin in general?
uh, 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 for your first question is, who am I? What a philosophical question.
Yes,
Yeah,
very.
I feel like I could be best described as content creator. I hate the word influencer. I just don't know why.
Really? Oh, we
Yeah,
can dive into that.
I don't vibe with that word. Even though a lot of people say to me like, "You're giving influencer vibe," I'm like, "Shh, no, I'm a content creator." I feel like content creators it has like much more meaning and much more like work put into
Mm,
it. I feel like I'm also a YouTuber. So like my main platform, that's like quite complicated. I feel like I'm trying to be more on Instagram Reels, but I feel like my main base is supposed to be YouTube, or I would actually love to be YouTube, but YouTube is very hard. Like it's a platform that you need to wait a lot of time in order to be recognized or to like have following. And on Instagram, I, like as everybody else, I have the most following, so that's like where I start to like put videos and where I start to gain audience, so that people who come to my Instagram can see that I also film for YouTube, I also film for TikTok. So that's really interesting. And like, I mean, I am in this whole like social media world for a very long time. I started in 2018
oh, wow.
when, yeah, I was 17 years old,
Oh,
high
wow.
school. Yeah, a
You were a
teenager.
baby. Literally
Yeah,
a baby.
yeah, definitely grown so much. I mean, got more handsome. I mean, high school years are awful. Let's say it
You
like that. Yeah,
bloomed. Even,
in terms
even,
of look.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but like even though it was challenging during high school, like everyone goes through that kind of period of time, that awkward phase, but you bloomed, I assume.
Yeah, but actually, my take is that a lot of people who are not so pretty, conventionally pretty in high school, they get pretty when they get older. And for people that are like peak in high school, they usually have like they have it a lot harder in life. That I mean, that's what saved me. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So so yeah, I started in 2018 by being a part of a YouTube channel called Hexatorm.
Mm.
Hexatorm. It's like it's a name created by two words, hexagon, which is like a six shape thing in math. I'm not very good in math,
Shocker.
and shocker. Yeah, I'm just pretty. And storm, and storm, which is like our which was our signature sign, like lightning. So
Hmm.
that's how it came Hexatorm. It's a project with Deutsche Welle and our national television. So it was like a
Montenegrin
pretty
national television, right?
yes, thank you, Montenegrin national television. So it was a pretty ambitious project, let's say like that, because our national television, as I think every national television in Balkan, is very, very slow and slow working and not very
Mm.
progressive. So they like made a deal with Deutsche Welle to make a channel for young people to for them to get a young audience and for young people to express themselves, their thinkings, their creative ways and stuff. So that's how I got into that whole YouTube world. And I remember loving it, to be honest, because I feel like that's where I was supposed to be. Because before that, I truly didn't know, first of all, any of our like Balkan YouTube creators,
Mm.
good or bad. I didn't know any of them. I watched a lot of American YouTubers, but that was about it. I was really like social media, like
But did you come across any content that was alarming to you? I mean, obviously, especially that
mm-hmm,
international stage,
mm,
for social media creators is huge and diverse. So there's a lot
yeah,
of quality content that I used to follow. I mean, I used to be a huge fan of Superwoman. I don't know if you know her. um
yeah,
I
yeah. I
Superwoman
know.
I. It was like, a whole journey. We share the same birthday, so I always felt like connected to her in some way, and I learned a lot. Like I think that her platform was very educational and very informative for me, and like also inspirational and motivating in moments. Very inclusive, so self love and the whole thing. Like I
Yeah,
learned it there, but uh, there were some content creators that were quite alarming, like even at that time, even before it
yeah.
became mainstream in some ways. So did you come across any content that you were like, yeah, this is exactly what I don't want to see or be at the moment in your life?
T- to be honest, when I was 17, I don't remember right now, but I know that I used to follow the like my favorite content creator, and I don't know if you know her. It was Liza Koshy.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know if you,
of
yeah. I mean,
course.
she's a comedian, very funny, very energetic, charismatic, and I remember I was like, "Ooh, I want to have this comedic timing because I feel like I always wanted to like make people happy with my
Mm.
content or at least satisfied like with their life. So I remember like watching Liza Koshy, I was like, ooh, I like her style, her charisma, her actually comedic timing, yeah.
Mm.
And I remember loving that, but in terms of like finding a content that's like not very suitable, I don't remember very
But like
much.
even Liza, I mean, I remember because like at the time, like there was Liza, there was
David Dobrik, yeah,
yes, and the whole crew, and I remember like seeing, for example, Liza's humor, which was quite, it wasn't offensive in any way. It was like quite,
yeah,
there wasn't a borderline offensive content. There
yes,
was
yeah,
just like funny content that anyone could relate to. It wasn't on anyone's account, so it was fine. But David's was, yeah, I don't know, from time to time, there were like moments, and he showed it
exactly.
later on that it was very problematic. So obviously, even humor has that kind of boundary where it's okay to go up to a certain point, but then everything beside that point is quite opposite of humor, so to say.
Yeah, I feel like David is actually a great example of that, to be honest. Like,
Mm.
he was one of the most famous YouTubers like he was everywhere, everybody loved him. And then I feel like as society grew and like we learned to have boundaries and respect each other each other, I feel like there was a lot of stuff that like surfaced up, like his behavior towards like his friends that he was filming. So it was like a quite not a scandal, but I feel like
Mm.
it said a lot about toxic environment that this like social media uh, work can really be, to be honest. So I feel like he's a great example of like, oh, he's making funny content and stuff, but like as years were going, like it surfaced a lot of like bad stuff. So
Because I feel like
I,
he was trying to follow all these trends and to stay in
yes,
touch, stay um, you know relevant in many
yes,
ways, and then following all these trends kind of slipped into that side of YouTube where it was just problematic. And I mean, I saw
yeah,
these videos of people getting seriously hurt, and we all know
yeah,
that there's this
same,
lawsuit against him, like with the guy that broke his spine or something like that. I'm not really familiar with the details, but like, yeah, right.
yeah. I mean, like, I think David like found his niche in all of it, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to do everything I can to like make my videos as hyped as every other." Because I feel like his videos were very like it was like cut vlogs. Everything was like for ADHD people amazing. So like
Yeah.
there was a lot of cuts and everything. Everything was hyped. So I feel like he was doing everything in his power to keep that going. And that would mean also like not being good with his friends or like yeah exploiting them in some ways. So yeah,
Mm.
it
But
was quite yeah.
my question for you is like, how do you keep up with trends and stay relevant in that sense, but still, not getting discriminatory, offensive, or even dangerous, as in the case of David Dobrik?
You know what? I actually feel like, not to brag or anything, but I feel like I am very much programmed like that. I don't know why, because when I started like for Hexatorm, when I started filming for YouTube, I remember my colleagues in channel being like, "Oh my God, our idols are some of our worst Balkan YouTubers," and I feel like I was blessed for actually not knowing anything about our Balkan YouTube scene in that moment because it couldn't influence me or my thinking. So, for example, as they were wishing like, "Oh, I wish our channel would be full of challenges, full of like." Those trendy YouTube stuff, I was like, okay, how can our channel be meaningful?
Mm.
And one of my platforms on our channel was actually like three things about something. For example, three ways to make your day good, or very much like cute motivational videos, which was really in line with like our national television
Values in
national
general.
values. Yeah, exactly. So therefore I was always like I always knew like that my message was very much motivational and not very like hype I don't know, like hype jokes and stuff. I mean it is, but it can be done in a very correct way, let's say like that.
Mm.
And then later I feel like as years were going, I feel like I was the one who did a lot of work um, in our in my YouTube team. I was the one who was doing like all the work. I was editing other people's videos because I was really trying to, like make that channel work. And you can't do that, to be honest, because there's a lot of people there. There was first 6 people, then 12 people. Imagine like all of the people, and you're the only one who's working, who's like saying around, okay, you guys, let's go, let's film this. It was yeah pretty hard, but I mean it did like I learned a lot. I wouldn't be
Mm.
doing what I'm doing today if there wasn't for to be honest Deutsche Welle for that YouTube channel, because there I learned how to edit, I learned how to film. Basically, I learned everything, and I found myself now using all of those tools to truly express myself.
Mm.
And I feel like you asked a great question, like how do you separate a good content from bad content, something like that. I feel like the
Mm.
question was to be. I don't know actually. I feel like
But not like good content in a sense, like quality content, but like, um, how do you separate, ethical,
Mm,
trendy
uh-huh.
content, but on the other side, ethical, And because in my head, and what many people like, when I encounter, when I engage with people and we start talking about social media,
Hmm.
especially when I start talking about social media in the context of promoting certain values that are promoting human rights, that are promoting media literacy, ethical consumption of social media, and so on, people are usually saying that you can't make educational topics fun. You can't make you can't be humorous without being offensive, and that's what I want to
Mm.
debunk, that type of thinking, because I believe that you can create content even without crossing any boundaries,
Same.
and your content is the proof of that. So
Yeah.
you're still fun, you're still funny. I giggle when I watch your videos, but
Oh,
I
thank you.
don't find it offensive, and that's the point of it.
You know what is, to be honest, from my point of view, I always say like, there's, you see, like, okay, let's fast forward to right now, and like my TikTok stuff and my reels, and actually a lot of format that's popular right now, and that's short videos.
Mm.
A lot of creators here, they tend to for some reason be like, okay, I'm gonna put a towel on my head or a wig, and I'm gonna pretend I'm a woman, which I hate because, first of all, you are not like, you do not have period every month, like you do not know how does it feel to be a woman, and like, like, it's
And
just
they're making
that's
these like very stereotypical way
yeah,
perceptions,
yeah, yeah, and I don't like that, because first of all, how can you be so clueless, and how can you not start from your own shoes? That's the stuff. To be honest, when I make content, I truly like, I don't like going in that direction where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play other person. No, I'm gonna start from myself. So
Mm.
my starting point is myself and my own problems. For example, I can be, I don't know, going through, I don't know, like I'm not getting enough sleep. Let's start from there. I'm gonna say to myself, okay, that's a problem. How can we make it fun, and how can we like find people that are similar to you? You know,
Mm.
and I usually tackle topics that are, to be honest, both genders. So it's not like only male nor only female. And I feel like, because I really want everybody to relate. I don't want for my audience to just be like, I don't know, girls or just boys. I want everybody to feel included, and therefore I feel like there are a lot of universal topics that you can work on in these videos, because we are all humans, to be honest. Like, 80% of the stuff are actually pretty similar if you want to look at it that way.
Mm.
Like, and that's just like one step away from like your normal looking. It's like, it's the easiest part is, okay, I'm gonna put on a wig, and I'm gonna act like, I'm gonna act like things I see. That's the easiest part,
So
and
you
that's how
take
you
you
get.
take things from your life, and you make them fun. Like you
Yeah,
put a fun note to it, right?
yeah, like my problems, my troubles, even in my environment, that's also super funny. Like, I was imagining in my head, like, 2 days before, like, I was thinking about some real, like, a Balkan singer or something like that. Like, how every singer has a lot of bad stuff put in his song, and put on like a 100 volume auto tune, and he's making a song. I mean, it can be funny, and it's also, it, it can be funny, but it can also be very educational to make people self-aware. I
Mm.
feel like that's what I want my content to be. Like, just make people self-aware. They'd be like, oh, this is actually so funny. Wait,
Mm. Mm.
how can I maybe change that, or how can I notice something? And I also feel like it's a lot about, to be honest, how you present things. I
Yes.
mean, because, like, not me, but I feel like everybody can talk about anything, and everybody can sell anything to people if they know how to present it.
Yes. Yes.
Like, I feel like a lot of people are very aggressive with their ideas. When we're talking about content creators today, they're very aggressive with their ideas, and that's what actually makes them very, yeah, very like non-ethic, and like they promote a lot of bad stuff, and plus they do it in very aggressive way, like they know everything, you
Mm,
know. And from that point, you can share a message with the point, I know everything and I'm gonna teach you.
mm.
No, it's a quite a 50-50 thing, you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's why when
you have to engage with the audience as well, in a
yeah
sense. You have to share the experience with everyone. But my
yeah
question is, like, you mentioned, taking things from your real life everyday struggles,
mm-hmm,
everything you find like that are common to many people, that
yeah
we as humans share. But there are certain things, for example, when you live in a bubble that's, for example, racist or homophobic, you can take those values and find them common and then share them on social media. My question is, how do we know that we are sharing the good values, and where does the media literacy step in? Because I
mm,
believe that, not everyone's values are in line with human rights,
yeah
and that, there's this fine line that we have to be aware of before we start creating content, and that fine line can be called media literacy. So how important do you find media literacy for content creating?
Actually, a lot. I feel like I truly feel like be, I truly feel like media literacy could definitely be put in school as a
Mm,
subject, as not a boring subject, but as a fun subject, because I feel like as time is like as we're progressing, and as time is as time is going, I feel like social media is going to be more and more and more interacted with, so and played with, because a lot of people will have phones even from young age, so a
mm.
lot of people will have
Access to social media.
thank you. Yeah. I was trying to remember the word. Yeah, a lot of people will have the access to social media, and that's why I feel media literacy would definitely be put in school, because they need to know how to like separate
Mm,
ethic from non-ethical content. And because I feel like that's what we see today. A lot of people, like someone who has phone and has something to say, it's pretty easy to just press that button and talk whatever you want from every bubble you wherever or that you are in. It's That's the most easiest part.
mm,
But being aware that your content is seen is something that media literacy could teach even the content creators, and what they see that could teach like the people who are consuming content.
mm.
So I feel like media literacy is definitely important. That's for sure. Even like if we're living in an ideal world and I'm a president, I would definitely put it in like a school subject or something.
Yeah,
Or
it has
like
to be taught like a skill, because not only
yeah,
from from the consumer's side, as we mentioned, like, there are two perspectives. Like, not only from consumer side, someone who's
yes,
scrolling through social media, but as from the side of someone who's creating, because all of us are media right now. Like, everyone that has a phone and access to internet is a sort of a media. Back in the day, it was, only people who had this license. You had to go through a lot in order to get something published. Now, as you said, there's only a click away. You're only a click
yeah,
away from publishing whatever thoughts you had. And when those thoughts go unfiltered, when you don't have
mm,
media literacy as a skill, when you're not critical of the content you consume, you can create the toxic
yeah.
content as well.
And to be honest, it's a really 50-50 like relationship, you know.
Mm,
It's action and reaction, so
mm, mm,
like one cannot exist without other. And I also feel like media literacy right now is unfortunately a sort of privilege, you know, like
mm,
uh, it's just for people that are in that certain bubble, that's going to those workshops or everything that is like not in school, where like media literacy right now you can learn not in school, but at least that's in our country and in our environment. You can learn that in school, but if you go to like workshops or seminars, that's where you learn about media literacy. And
mm.
I feel like that's very very specific. And if we want to like of share the message of that to a wider audience, we need to make it wider, like in
Yes,
terms of like
accessible.
options. Access. Thank you. Yes,
Again
accessible.
that
Yeah.
word, but like it's
Cannot
true.
with access. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but it's true. I mean, like it has to be something that is basic. Like media literacy has to be a basic human right. As you know, as blatant as that may sound, it has to be accessible to everyone. It has
Yeah.
to be made common. It doesn't have to be an exception for someone. It must not be an exception for
Exactly.
someone to be media literate, but it has to be a rule. And that's one thing that we unfortunately do not encounter quite often in media literacy in many countries that are, like for example, in the eastern part of Europe, is quite low,
Ooh. Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
people do not critically consume the content that they come across. And then if they decide to become a creator, they just continue this vicious cycle of
Yeah.
producing the content that's not based on a human rights approach. So yeah.
But what I do feel like it's kind of changing in a, I'm not gonna say positive nor negative way. Let's say neutral way. What I feel like audience is getting more and more aware
Mm.
and self-aware. I feel like, especially on TikTok, there was a lot of, for example, misogynistic content that I see sometimes, and I get into comments, and there were actually quite a lot of times that people called out
Mm.
a person who was talking like nonsense or bad about, I don't know, women or anybody else. And I feel like there's a lot of comments where like, oh, shut the fuck up, what are you saying, it's not like that. So I feel like, okay, so we are getting somewhere. Like I feel like audience is getting more and more aware as years are going, but I feel like they definitely need like, as you said, like a tool or some kind of like channel, something like some kind of vessel to channel that awareness
Mm.
to a good point, because it can be drawn to bad points. But let's not go there yet. But I do feel like it needs to channel somewhere, because audience is aware. I feel like audience is aware now more than ever, because as I said, they have a lot of early access to their phones.
Mm.
They're capable from a very early age, to be honest. So I feel like if media literacy is ever bring to school, it would be something from like when they start writing. Yeah, give
Yes.
them media literacy,
Yes. Yes.
like
Yes.
from a
It
very
has.
young age, not like when they're 13 or 14, because who's going to listen to you then? Like they're going to
But
know
it's
everything
also
and they're going to
quite really
see everything.
quite late at 13, 14. You're
Yeah.
already, I mean, those are formative years, but also like in other senses you already experienced a lot, and a lot of
Yeah.
things that that you encountered on social media already affected you up to a certain point, and that has left consequences. So
True.
it has to be, it has to come much earlier in your life, before you engage with different things, with different people, before you form certain values.
Yeah.
You have to be media literate, and you have to have the skill in order to handle thousands, billions of information that come your way every second of the day. But you mentioned comments, and that's one really interesting thing that I wanted to comment about. Like, I wanted to comment on comments with you. Uh, so, even when sometimes, for example, a content creator is producing ethical content that's not harming any human rights, that's not going against any values that we are trying to promote, and that's not discriminating anyone, that's not attacking anyone, offending anyone, and so on.
Hmm.
Comment sections can become a platform for toxicity and harmful content, because you mentioned people being aware, but there is also people that are not aware, and
Yeah.
on the contrary, quite that they have share those values that are going against human rights. So how do you, as a content creator, moderate and
The,
keep your
mhm.
comment section from getting toxic?
To be honest, I was talking with my friends the other day, and like she was like, you actually don't get any hate comments in your videos.
Mm.
And I'm like, to be honest, I'm just not checking my comment section. I feel like I post a video, and like, because when I post video, I usually turn off the app because
Mm-hmm.
I can get very addicted to following like how the video is going
Yeah.
and like how are the likes and stuff. So I turned off likes, I turned off comments, and I just post video and I turn off the app, and I
Mm.
just go about living my day.
It's like for
And
your mental health.
yes, it's just keep for like, yeah, for my mental health and for me to not be like, oh, should I maybe delete this? Should I? No, if my gut is saying to post it, I post it, and then I just wait for whatever to go viral, to not go viral and stuff. Never mind. And my friend was like, "You actually don't get hate comments." And I'm like, "I actually don't check to be." And then we checked together, and there truly wasn't any hate comments, to be honest. So I feel like a lot, at least right now, a lot of general public actually quite like doesn't have any beef with me. You know, like
Uh-huh.
they pretty much like they understand that. I feel like when you see my content, it's quite. I mean, it's quite a specific problem, specific, I don't know, specific storytelling. So it's not something. I mean, I always try to like keep something in my own original niche so that they can't associate me with anybody else, even with a good or a bad creator. I feel like I can make my own, like
Appearance,
my
yeah.
own, yes, my own little appearance. And I feel like people from now, at least until now, they're pretty supportive about it, because even when I started YouTube and that was like my own channel, it was in September of last year. I remember I was like, I can't wait for my hate comments for some reason. I was like, I just want to not fight, but like to I just want some thrill of like, I don't know, getting hate or something. But that's a psychological problem in me. Never mind.
Yeah,
And
but like I mean, what you're saying is actually it depends on the creator and what values the
yes,
creator shares. That
yeah,
the comments, like the people following them, are gonna also share. So, for example, you mentioned those people that challenge certain values, misogyny, for
mm,
example, in the comments.
yeah,
Usually, they are the base that um, base of people that are is already following similar content, and when they
yeah,
encounter, for example, content that's stepping out of that bubble that
yeah,
they are used to, they start to challenge it. So if you create an audience that's for example, pro human rights, pro LGBT,
yeah.
supports different diversities,
Hmm.
social diversities, and so on, they will become critically equipped
True.
to to challenge the different views, the views that are discriminatory against someone.
Yeah, to challenge actually themselves. I feel like a lot of creators actually, not gonna say steal ideas, but it happened to me a lot of time where I see a creator do like one reel or one subject for a reel, and the next creator does the exact same
Mm.
thing. Like it doesn't even put an original stamp on it, which I feel like being inspired is not stealing ideas. When for example, it happens to me when I see someone do some reel, I'm like, okay, so how can I expand that?
Mm.
How can I make that mine, and how can I put like my original stamp on it? And I usually end up creating a totally different idea, but I was inspired by someone.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of creators actually see I saw a lot of creators doing the exact copy of it and getting maybe more views, maybe less views, maybe the exact amount of views. And I'm like, that's how you spread a lot of bad stuff, because when you see someone's TikTok or reel doing good, like
Mm.
going viral and stuff, and they're talking about something that's bad or non-ethical, and you're like, okay, I can copy that and I can get the exact same views. And that's not how you do it. That's how you spread actually a lot of
Mm.
a lot of bad stuff. And that's when those comments actually come in play, because some people will be like, okay, you copied that, okay,
Mm.
you did that. And I'm like, okay, but you are missing the point. Like, you're missing the point of the content that's being copied.
Yeah, but
So
like if they're challenging someone, not giving credits to someone, then it's okay. I mean, like they
yeah,
are trying to point out that something is not okay, and make having a crowd that's aware of ownership and authors' rights and so on. I think that's really important as well, and we're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
talked enough when it comes to social media, because like it's very hard to trademark something and make it your own, because it's
Yeah,
accessible to everyone and anyone can use it.
yeah, and everybody's gonna. I mean, like everybody, but I feel like if something is really original, like of course someone's gonna copy it. I mean, I think it's an inevitable thing. So I feel like, I mean, I don't know. Like the comment section were actually really really interesting topping because I just need to point out that I actually got a first hate comment like a few days ago. And actually, the exact same day when me and my friends were talking, I got a hate comment that said, um, "Your videos are not very good." Period. It was just something like that. And I remember I responded to that hate comment, be like, "Okay, thank you. I will try to make my videos better."
But is it then a
Point.
hate comment? Like, is it or is it just challenging you to make better content? Like, is it just stating an opinion?
Well, to be honest, that opinion was very, very, how to say, very passionate because
Mm.
he said, I think it was like a male. He said something, a male, a man. I mean, it was like,
A male.
I'm a man, I'm a male. He said something, he said something like, your videos are stupid or something
Uh
like
huh.
that. It was pretty, like targeted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
okay,
I
okay.
remember I responded, I was like, okay, so how can I make it better? And
Mm,
I got more likes than him.
mm,
So I feel like it's really easy to like not get caught in all of the hate and all the
mm,
toxicity. To be honest, you just need to distance yourself from it and be like, okay, so how can I not like turn the other cheek, but how can I show someone kindness even though they
yeah.
they're like
They didn't
they're
do that
very,
in the first place.
yeah, other person did do that. And a lot of people don't tend to do that, to be honest.
Mm,
Not even in the social media world, even in our world, everybody is like, okay, so I'm gonna give you the same treatment you give to me.
mm.
Like, okay, that's maybe good for like your personal relationship, but if we're talking about people who are commenting your video, having that relationship with them is very weird because you don't know them, they probably don't know you. They're gonna see your video for like 10 seconds and they're gonna leave their opinion, which is probably their own reflection of themselves,
Mm.
and you're gonna be like, you're the same treatment I'm gonna give to you. You don't know that person. You're like, just you know
But if
I tend
someone,
to, yeah.
like, sorry to interrupt, but like if someone did
It's okay.
say that comment, like if somebody said to your face directly, like offline, your ideas are stupid, that would be one thing, because then it would, I mean,
Yeah,
obviously it
yeah.
would hurt your feelings, and you would obviously not feel comfortable with that comment, or but you could have a discussion, and it would be between you and this person that told you this. But whatever you say on social media stays on social media forever, and also it affects many more people than it would affect if it
Yes.
was said in the offline world. So we have to be aware of the
Impact. I feel like
impact.
impact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because and interesting is the your situation that somebody comes in person and says that's never gonna happen. I feel
Mm,
like I didn't meet a person whose hater came to him in person and was like, listen, you're this that actually never happens, to be honest, because people feel like they have more power on the internet, like they have
mm,
more power when they're lying in their bed on their phone and they see a TikTok or reel and they're like, I'm gonna comment it, especially from like a from not their account but
anonymous accounts.
yes, anonymous accounts.
Um,
So I feel like that's the power of the internet, which is pretty weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like talking about power of the internet, and that this is like the question that I want to ask you
Hmm.
before we finish, because I'm really interested. Um, Social media has a lot of power. We already established that, but can that power be channeled in a good way? In a sense, like, can
Mm.
we use it to engage people in different causes and movements? Did you ever consider using your platform to as a way to start an initiative or to support some that already exist?
Hmm. That's a great idea because I'm planning to do that, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I'm still building my platform. Like I
Mm-hmm.
really want to support some cause, but I want my audience to support it with me. So
Mm.
first, I'm trying to get an audience, to be honest, because I'm still new. I'm still new at this whole, especially Reel and TikTok. I'm still new at this whole like content creating world. I'm doing well. Like some of my videos went viral and stuff. So first of all, I'm trying to attract audience and make and like get a people that's gonna listen not to me, but actually they're gonna listen to me and my ideas that I share for them and with them. And like when I get my audience, that's when I'm definitely starting. That's when I will start to get in, like especially getting into some project where I can call people to come to, I don't know, be educated, to like help each other. But right now, what I can do is actually film a content that's gonna like share a good message. For example, in my YouTube channel, I have a video that's called like how to accept my past. I feel like that's like a very, not very popular topic on YouTube, and I'm planning to make a video like men can be emotional as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a video idea that's like in my head for a long time, where I pretty much talk about toxic masculinity, how that affect a lot of men, where they feel like they're, I don't know, they feel like they can't be emotional, which is a huge problem within our gender. So I'm gonna tackle with that, and for now I'm just gonna like talk about those stuff that are very unconventional and looked from a different point of view. And I feel like in that way I can help definitely someone uh, I can just, I feel like, help someone. And when I get I feel like not the right audience but my audience,
Mm.
that's when I can like go into initiatives and call, because initiatives are all about calling people.
Mm.
First I need to like gather people. I
Yes.
feel like that's what I'm doing now. But I'm definitely pro, like, for I'm all for every project that has some meaning to it, and that has something to do with just helping people in society in
Mm.
general.
So social activism with social
Yes.
media is a good combination in your head. I really like
Yes.
the stages you mentioned. Like you have to first gather people to create the values shared among
Yeah.
that group of people, and then
Need to create my own bubble,
yes, yes, yes,
because
yes,
that bubble can expand.
yeah,
Like they have their own brothers and sisters and stuff. I mean, I'm just like talking
yeah, yeah, yeah.
viral. Yeah, but I feel like if you create your own bubble, then you can start to just widen your bubble.
I
I
get
feel
it.
like it's going like that. Yeah.
Hmm. Awesome, awesome. I mean, I really hope that you gather a lot of people because,
Thank you.
judged on what I've seen so far, you're on a good way to achieve that.
Thank you.
And your content is what we need more of in this social media environment, and definitely what I would like to see more in my For You page, in my Instagram Explorer, and so on.
Thank you.
And keep doing what you're doing, because it's obvious that you love doing what you're doing, and the passion is shining through, and that's also very important for people to understand that it's genuine content, not something that you create for a certain as a certain obligation, but rather something that comes from within you. Even the topics that you mentioned, like how to accept your past,
Yeah.
even men can be also emotional, and so
Mm-hmm.
on. And I've seen also some other things that you draw from your personal life,
Mm.
and that's what makes your content genuine and authentic and
Thank you.
honest, and I really like that. So keep doing what you're doing. I invite our audience that's listening this podcast to follow you. I will
Yeah.
leave your credentials in the description, so people can
Yeah.
can come to your pages and check it out. Thank you for being my guest. Thank you for joining
Thank you.
Youth Squad. I hope we have a chance to do this again in the future.
Of course, it was a great morning coffee, to be honest, like a morning coffee talk. Thank you so much. It was, to be honest, really nice to be guest here, and I feel like we opened so many topics. Like, I feel like we
Def-
didn't close any of them, but we opened them, which is very rare thing today in
mm,
in this world and age. So, thank you so much.
definitely, definitely. I think there's so many, there's so much space to explore these topics further.
Yes.
So that's why I say that maybe in the future we can meet up for another
Yeah,
morning
we can
coffee.
We can make a part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I get like 10K or something, when I have like my audience and stuff, we can definitely do a part 2.
Yes.
Of course. Yeah.
Yes,
Thank
for
you so
sure.
much.
I would love to have you back once you're so popular that you don't even remember my name.
And let's not do that. Let's not do that, because it's not like that. I really need to say this, because when I met you, and it was pretty recent, I just remember seeing you and being like, you seem like such a hard worker. I'm not even kidding. And when I saw this platform, I was like, this is, first of all, very aesthetically pleasing. Like very like it just looks pretty. And second of all, you talk about some pretty important stuff here, and you share some values that are definitely unique and very much needed. So thank you for that, and thank you for your service. But no, like thank you for just like having a platform and actually sharing your voice, because I feel like that's the thing that actually connects you, me, and anybody else that shares something for audience and for social media.
Thank you so much for these kind words. This meant a lot to hear. This youth squad platform, I mean, this whole series of podcasts is, the idea behind it is to actually create that bubble of people who want to hear more about topics such as human rights, gender equality, active participation, multiculturalism, and so on. Because like these topics are something that's really broad and can be looked from different perspectives, and even through, for example, social media. So thank you for talking about it in such a good manner, and thank you for being my guest, and thank you for all the compliments, and thank you. And I want to thank our audience for listening to us, and I hope they stay for another episode. Thank you for listening to Youth Squad. My name is Maria. The Youth Squad podcast series is recorded under a small-scale project in the field of youth called Voicehood of Youth, which will cover 4 topics: human rights, gender equality, European multiculturalism, inclusion and diversity, and active participation. The project is implemented within the Erasmus Plus program and is financed by the Swedish National Agency. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure you stay tuned for another episode.